Okay, good morning. So we're up to Siman Mem Zayin Halacha Hey, Sif Hey. We're working through Dini Birchas HaTorah, important stuff. So says the Mechaber, Halacha Hey. Birchas HaTorah, the Nusach of Birchas HaTorah is Asher Kitshonu b'mitzvos v'tzivonu al divrei Torah. That's the first part. V'ha'arevna is the second. V'asher bochabonu is the third. Says the Mishnah Berurah. Al divrei Torah, uminag medinasenu loymar la'asok b'divrei Torah. That's the minhag which we're all familiar with. We say la'asok b'divrei Torah, and interestingly, ger yachol loymar birchas asher bocha bonu. A ger can also say the lashon of asher bocha bonu, even though he converted to Yiddishkeit, and ostensibly he wasn't chosen because he actually chose. But they say that the neshamos of the gerim were at Matan Torah, whatever the hezbollah is. He quotes Achronim. V'ha'arevna v'yesh medaktin lahosif v'tzetzoenu ki kol mishu tamid chacham u'bnoi u'ben bnoi tamid chachamim shuv ein HaTorah pesekes mizaroi. Then the Torah doesn't leave their children. Shenemar lo yamushu mipicha ve'ein tzarich lekach ki bechlal v'tzetzoenu gam kein bnei bonim, because it means your descendants, and included in that is bnei bonim. V'asher bochar Sif Cotton Yud, v'tomid tia tfilas ha'av v'ayim shagur b'fihem. Very, very beautiful Mishnah Berurah. This it's important, says the Mishnah Berurah, that a father should always daven for a child. L'hispal al b'neim shu'loim de Torah v'sadikim u'balei midas tovas v'yechavin ma'oid v'birchas avarabba. That a person should have a strong kavanah during avarabba uva birchas HaTorah b'shah she'omrim v'niyah nachnu v'se'etzoenu. During when he says these words, he should have in mind that his children should be loim de Torah, tzadikim, balei midas, etc. V'chein k'sha'imeh b'volat tzion. Another time when a person can do this is in uvolat tzion, when he says leman lo niga lo rik v'lo b'hala. It's a very beautiful words. Lo niga lo rik. I shouldn't be miyageh. I shouldn't put effort in for nothing. A person should have his children in mind. I remember once hearing from David Halpin that he said there was one family in this. He's, I think, the Nasi of Parda's house or whatever, and there was one particular family where the kids were outstanding, and he asked the father about it. He once watched the father when he was davening, and the father, when he was davening, he often would go. And it was at these points when he was doing Avarabba and Birchas HaTorah and the Nevolat Tzion, he wasn't speaking, but he was just like, he was listing his kids, he was having in mind his kids, Reuven, Shimon, maybe, like that. Okay, have a look at note 13. V'chein, b'soif tfilas shmona esra kodim yularatzen, kosev lekamon, b'shem d'chay adam, shenochem v'roi l'chol adam nispalal b'chol yoim, sh'letomash HaTorah mepivim mizar zera zara v'shiu kol yotzi chalotzav ovdei Hashem be'emes. So another time is at the end of the Shmona Esra, so to put it in there. Yeah, okay. The halach sif cotton vav, sifov. Oimer v'ha'arev, not involve. One should say v'ha'arev, not with a vav. Says the Ramah, v'yesh omrim b'loi vav v'chein nahagu, aval yosatov lomer b'vav, but it's better to say it with a vav. Says the Mishnah Berurah, the brocha achasi. If you say it with a vav, right, then it means it's one brocha, the and. It's a continuation of the earlier brocha. De'ilu hoysa brocha b'fnei atzma, hoysa pesachas b'barach. Because if it's a standalone brocha, then it would have its own brocha at the beginning. You're going to tell me it adjoins the bracha immediately before Asher Bocha Bonu, and therefore it doesn't need a bracha at the beginning. However, that's not true, because Mikol Mokum, given the brachas Katsara saying, since these brachas are all fairly short, you do open the bracha with a baruch, even though it's a bracha hasmucha lechaverta, which adjoins another baruch. Midid hava brachas havdalah. It's no different to the brachas havdalah. Shepoisches bebaruch afal pishein smuchas kivin shein katzaras. Right, in havdalah we make the bracha of berbra gofen, then besomim, then ner, and then we say Baruch Atah Hashem Hamav Ben Kodesh Shachol. So even though there it's a smuch lechaverta, really you shouldn't need to say Baruch, but because they're Ketzaros, we do it. Well, so too Birchas HaTorah, you do it. Vayesh Omrim, but so therefore you see that it's just one bracha. Vayesh Omrim Svirei Deshani Birchas Havdalah Shein Smuchas, because Birchas Havdalah they're not smuchas. Why? Sheimrot Sa'omer Al Kol Echad Bifnei Atzmei Al Ner V'Al B'Samim, because you could do it separately on the Ner and the B'Samim. A few weeks ago, Tisha B'Av, we did it on the Ner. We didn't do it on the other things. So they're standalone brachas. So therefore they're different. Yosatov, Kibozeh. So the Ramah concludes it's actually better to say it with a Vav. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Sifkat Yud Beis, Kibozeh Yotzono Yudei Koladeis, because that way we fulfilled all the opinions. Avalim Toima Beloy Vav, if you say it without a Vav, V'have ha'arev no brocha b'fnei atzma, v'have hefsek. And then you've got a problem, because the bracha of harevna, which is therefore a standalone bracha, is a hefsek la'osadeya shesvir le bracha achasi, who says that it's one bracha. And that indeed is the minhag nowadays, to say v'ha'arevna with a vav. And therefore, on the back of that, to say amen after lasuk b'divrei Torah is a machlokas. You shouldn't say amen after the bracha of lasuk b'divrei Torah. And therefore, don't put people into that sort of conundrum, and therefore better to say it quietly. Okay, halacha zayin, sif zayin. Birchas avas olam. Peteres Birchas HaTorah im lomad miyad b'li hefsek. A person, for whatever reason, didn't say Birchas HaTorah, and he wants to be yotze Birchas HaTorah in Avas Olam, or we'll see in Ava Rabba, then that works, so long as he learns straight afterwards b'li hefsek. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Sif Katan Yud Gimel, Avas Olam, nokat Avas Olam, lefi ma sheposek lekamen b'simen samach sif aleph, aval l'ramasham oimrim avarabba b'shachris. We say avarabba in shachris, upashut to huadin b'birchas avas olam. It's the same concept, yes, same idea. Ba'arvis in of avas olam in Mariv, gam kem chapoteres. The zil boss time. So a guy got up late, or whatever it was, and he says avas olam, and he wants to be yotzes Birchas HaTorah in that. It works even in Mariv. The builds up zil boss time, because the reasoning, the rationale, the theme of the bracha is the same. And the nafkamina would be, for example, if a guy had a long sleep in the afternoon, according to the Mechaber, it's a hefsek. Even those of us who are making, if you have a shenas keva, a long sleep in the afternoon, it's good to have in mind in Avas Olam, if you had a long sleep in the afternoon, to have in mind an Avas Olam that's going to cover your Birchas HaTorah for subsequent learning of Torah that evening. Let's say Yedei Das Reva Poiskim HaMachmir B'zeh. K'mavu Lekam Mishnah Berurah Ayin Shom. V'ayim Be'halacha Eid Nafkamina. He gives another Nafkamina. Okay, Yudalet. Peteres sheyesh ba me'ein Birchas HaTorah, because Ava Rabba has got a me'ein, a similar little theme of Birchas HaTorah, because we say there the same b'lebeinu lilmoy the lamed lishma v'lasius l'kayim, etc. V'lechayra midasosum mashma afilu leikivim beis habracha lifter b'zeh Birchas HaTorah sagi. Even if a guy didn't have in mind to be yotze Birchas HaTorah, it works. V'ayin be'er halacha. Okay, im lomad. If he learns straight afterwards. The Birchas Ava Rabba, given the Niskin Ha'ikar Kriyashma, since Birchas Ava Rabba is instituted for Be'etzem for Kriyashma, Lo mischazel l'shem Birchas HaTorah ela b'shen miyad. The Shema that you say straight afterwards is als Kriyashma, is not als learning, and therefore one needs to learn after davening for Ava Rabba to be an effective Birchas HaTorah. Because of alavush, she'afim mispal v'sim atfila ein nikra b'zehefsek. Even though there's a lot of davening to go after you said Ava Rabba, it's not considered a hefsek. Given she'achakach lomad miyad, because straight after davening one learns, and therefore like a dvar halacha that we say here or whatever it may be is actually a very good thing. One learns before yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you want to before davening, you should say Birchas HaTorah. This is all b'diavad. This is all, really, of course, one should say Birchas HaTorah properly. Miyad tesayin afilu ma'at l'shem mitzvah limud. Even a little bit m'shem mitzvah limud v'oz shuv lo yitzdarich levarech kol ois hayom. And then you don't need to say the rest of the days. We'll come to Mishram later. Afilu hifsik v'omad v'chazal limud al derech shizboy lekam Birchas HaTorah. An amazing thing. Think about it. You say Birchas HaTorah. We've all said Birchas HaTorah. It's early in the morning. You then learn a bit, and then you go daven, and then you go off to work, and perhaps you're not going to learn until the evening. But your Birchas HaTorah you said 12 hours ago, 15 hours ago, is going to cover you. Isn't that a hefsek? Teretz is, that's a whole focus. It's just, the work is just a means, it's something we've got to do in the middle of the day, but the actual, it's not a hefsek, because it's one big avodas Hashem. It's interesting. Okay, we'll see that more soon. Ches. Says the Mechaber, V'yesh lihistapik. So here we are, Siman Mem Zayin halacha ches, v'yesh lihistapik sagi b'kere krishma somach lo miyad b'li hefsek. Is that going to be counting as limud HaTorah? And therefore, like I just said, it's better to just say Birchas HaTorah before to avoid all problems. It says Mishnah Berurah, "V'yesh listapik diyesh loymar to Kriya Shema have a rak kedivrei tefillah." The Kriya Shema is part of tefillah. Kim she'ena emezel shem limud. You're not learning. V'ayim behagrosh shechiach b'pshitos the Kriya Shema moyel lezeh. He learns that simply that Kriya Shema does not count as limud HaTorah. Achach mosasi gam kein b'sefer Eli Rabbah. Shehevi gam kein me'ara poskim apostle kein lahalacha. V'nira. If, however, you said Shema after the Zman, then then it for sure is, because you're not being Yotze Kriya, you're not being Yotze Kriya Shema. Okay, fine. Yesh lizohes, so he says, the Shema Yishkach Limoy Tekev Lachat Tefillah, and therefore it's better to just say Birchas HaTorah to avoid that problem. Okay, let's just do halacha test. Yesh Oimrim. If you are mafsik between Birchas HaTorah and your actual learning, that's not a problem. But the correct thing to do is not to make a gap. And that's what we say. We say Yivarecha immediately after Birchas HaTorah, and that's why we've already said some that's considered a bit of learning. Shem hifsik taimom the dafka ba'av rabba dulav ikka bracha leBirchas HaTorah. Because dafka ba'av rabba, which is not the ikka bracha Birchas HaTorah, oz eina poita elim kain lomad miyad b'lihefsik. Of Birchas HaTorah preteres kol hayom, but the Birchas HaTorah it patters you the entire day. Even if you didn't learn anything till lunchtime, I can't make a bracha on a lulav and then shake it 5 hours later. The mitzvah Limud HaTorah is different, because Limud HaTorah is constant, it's 24/7, it's Yom V'Layla. There's no Hesach Hadas, you've got an ongoing obligation to learn whenever you're free. They agree with what the Ramah says, because the Mechaber just says it's correct. And therefore we go like the Ramah, that preferably it's better to learn immediately after Birchas HaTorah, just to try and fulfill like a regular Birchas HaMitzvahs, that we do the action straight after the bracha. And in Hifsik Tekev Acha Bracha, Afim Yodeh Beresh Le'Tziach Daitei, even if you know that you weren't Mesiach Das, to Kim Shel Hischel Adayin Be'al Mitzvah Ein Lo Achkach Al Malochel, what's it Chalon? And therefore you should say the Birchas Yivarech or whatever straight after Birchas HaTorah. V'chein Hiskma Pri Chodesh V'Agra, V'chein Herzik Achay Odom LaHalacha. Mikol Makom nearly to Kim Sheyesh Poskim Sheservim De Ein Tzorach Lachzav Levarech, that if you didn't say learn Torah straight afterwards, that there are poskim who say you don't need to go back and make a bracha. That if that happens, that you should have in mind when you say avarabba, lot says bezei de birchas HaTorah, v'yilmad ma'at tekef achash shesim tefilosoi v'ayme behalacha. Okay, v'chein noagu is to say Birchas Kohanim straight after Birchas HaTorah. Hatam b'shlosh psukim. What is the reason we dafka choose Birchas Kohanim? Sherotz lesadek derech hakor b'Torah. They want us to. Chazal wanted to just straight after you make the bracha Birchas HaTorah to do it like we read in the Torah. V'nogdu, we dafka choose these three. V'nogdu eilem mishum sheyesh bohen bracha. They're beautiful brachas. U'mutze loymar afilu kodim or habraka. And you can say Birchas HaTorah even before it gets light. So you get up in the winter at 5 o'clock in the morning and you want to learn. It's dark, it's pitch black outside. No problem. You say Birchas HaTorah. And don't worry about that opinion, which says that there's no nesias kapayim, there's no duchening at night, and therefore you shouldn't say these brachas. We don't have to worry about that. We're learning. We're saying these psukim als limud, not als duchening. Birchas Kohanim, v'noagu lema gamkin elu dvarim she'en lam shir, she'hi Mishnah, umemra de elu dvarim she'odom, oichel parasim mazeh, etc. Kadei lekayim memra Mishnah Gemara. Because that way we lekayim mikra, Mishnah Gemara. Let's just do Yud. It's a short one, and it just fits into what we've just been saying. Im hifsik melilmoid v'nisasik be'asokov. So a guy runs straight after shul. He said Birchas HaTorah. he davens and he goes off to work, Kivin shadai to lachsav lilmoid le have a hefsek. Since he knows he's got a chavrusa in the evening, he's going to be learning later on that day, then it's not considered a hefsek. Vuadin l'sheina umerchatz beis hakisi to have a hefsek. And anything else one does during the day, sleeping, washing, going to the bathroom, that's not considered a hefsek. Says the Mishnah Berurah. I remember in yeshiva, one of the Rebbes gave a drosha to boys when they were leaving, and he always said, Limud HaTorah should be the wallpaper of your life. Like, it's a constant. It's always there. Yeah, occasionally you've got to do this, you've got to do that, but it's a constant. That's what I'm saying. Says Mishnah Berurah, Chof Beis, Kivin shedaita mashma, Demi she'ein darka lilmud v'nimlech lilmud, someone who is not derech, is not to learn, and then he decides to learn, he's got to go back and make a bracha. The Tal says no. The Shulchan Aruch doesn't say that only if his intention is to go back to learn. Mashma, the Svirlei, the Mistoma Amrinan Davedaite im Izdamen Shiyuch Limud. His Islam Kavanah is that if he gets the opportunity to learn, then he'll learn. Afilu b'shah she'ein ragel limud shilmud. Whenever he gets the opportunity, he'll learn. V'yesh lahakel b'sofik brachas, and therefore one should be making in sofik brachas and not say it again. That's the Eli Rabbi and the Prima Godim. Hinyach b'tzarachin v'gam agrob be'ira afshu mefarish b'shulchan aruch kamogen Avram. Mikol makom ledina hu maskim b'soif sifches kataz. V'hu kapirish harishon sheberosh. The Sfirei dafilu mi she'ein ragel lilmud ein tzarich lachsav levarich. That he doesn't need to make a new Birchas HaTorah. L'sheina rotzolem l'sheinas arai. I mean a short shluf. Even at night time he has a little dremel, he sits in his armchair or something like that. He's not totally detaching himself from the concept of learning later. But there are other halachas that he's still living. Yiddishkeit is 24/7. He's living Yiddishkeit. So even when he's in the bathroom, he's aware of halachas. Not to be too exposed in the Beis HaKisei. That he can't say the name of Hashem. He can't say halach in the bathroom and things like that. He hasn't been mesiach das from Torah because it's a Torah Chaim. It's a living Yiddishkeit. Okay, say we'll leave it there.